I 33 lost my 27-year-old brother to cancer a couple of months ago. We were so close and had a lot in common. He was a gamer and had all types of gaming gear, including a gaming chair that he wanted me to have before he died. It's devastating because we were really hoping and had plans to spend Christmas 2021 together. This chair I consider special because it was my brother's favorite of all gear, and it reminds me of him whenever I sit in it. I don't play anymore, it just brings me closer to him to a degree I cannot explain, and it brings me so much comfort. I keep the chair in my office, and days ago I found out that my fiance, who has been out of a job and complaining about no longer being able to attend the gym, took the chair and sold it online to be able to pay for her next month's gym membership. When I found out, I flipped out hugely and had a very negative reaction. She told me that she was desperate for money, and after selling all she had no choice but to sell the chair. I reminded her of who this chair belongs to, but she said I already have tons of keepsakes from my brother, and so I shouldn't act like it was the end of the world. She also vented about her past eating disorders and her anxiety when it comes to keeping fit, and claimed I was dismissing that she is struggling. I yelled at her and called her inconsiderate and selfish, and told her she should have never ever took and sold any of my stuff for a gym membership when she literally could have kept working out from home. She started crying as we argued, then she went to stay with her mom, who tried to give me a stern talk about my attitude, but I didn't answer that and haven't been talking to my fiance since then. Things haven't gotten better, and I got called overdramatic for reacting and treating my fiance like that over a gaming chair. I feel guilty because I've never yelled at her in my life before. Am I the idiot? Was I too hard on her? Some said I went overboard because this is a gaming chair and it was bit childish of me to make a fuss over it, but I already explained why I had this reaction aside from the fact that money is an issue we already have. Not the idiot. Call the person who brought the chair and tell him that he's brought stolen property. If your fiancé still refuses to do anything about getting it back, then you may need to report it to the police as stolen and get it returned to you that way. Your fiancé knew exactly what she was doing and has shown that she doesn't care about your property, the meaning behind the gift of it, and who it belonged to. Your fiancé is old enough to know that her actions can have consequences, and she can now face them, and too bad if her consequences are of the legal kind due to her theft. Not the idiot. She sold something of great sentimental value to you in exchange for a vanity gym membership, and you would be absolutely correct that she could have just worked out at home if it came down to selling something that wasn't hers to sell and having access to a gym. Then she tried to turn the table on you by making you feel bad for being upset at her awful decision. Essentially, she stole from you, then tried to make you feel bad about it. Big red flag, my dude. Not the idiot. Even if your brother was still alive, what she crossed a line. She doesn't have any right to sell your stuff without your permission. Technically, that money isn't even hers because the chair belonged to you. It doesn't matter if you have lots of keepsakes from your brother or not, it still doesn't give her the right to sell your things. There are plenty of alternatives to gym that she can use to keep fit, such as calisthenics or going for walks or jogs or runs. Last I checked, nature and your own body are free. So my brother, 26, and I, 22, used to be really close. We both struggled with having crappy, abusive parents, and we leaned on each other for support. That was, until he met Sarah. Sarah has changed him. He stopped hanging out with me, he stopped talking to me, so now we barely talk. I'm certain that Sarah is responsible for the change. As a child, I was very sick, having many different problems, including a cancerous lump that was removed. Not a big deal, I recovered, and I was too young to really understand most of it, but some of those issues carried on into my adulthood. Sarah came up to me about a year ago and started discussing these problems with me, giving me advice that wasn't the least bit helpful and was only condescending. Sarah is good at this, she makes judgmental little comments all the time. The thing is, even my best friends don't know about these issues because I never talk about them. My brother has never been included in discussions about them, nor was my dad when I reached a certain age. I only discussed this stuff with my mom. I can barely talk to doctors about it, and yet my brother told Sarah everything he knew. 2 years ago, they got engaged. They told me by showing up at my work with all the family. They also had lunch at my work, and I had to watch our families have lunch together while I worked and couldn't join. I then found out it was only at my work because my dad forced him to tell me about the engagement before he posted it over social media, which he initially wasn't going to do. He had intended for me to find out with his Facebook friends, even though my parents and her family were all told personally. Fast forward to the start of this year. I had a mental breakdown in March and faced losing my flat. My brother stole a key and let himself and Sarah in so they could stand and judge me while I was struggling. He took pictures of me that ended up being used for blackmail, but that's a different story. I later found out that he tried to convince my mother to section me and have me committed to the mental hospital. Way to kick a girl when she's down. A couple of months ago, I found out that Sarah's sister is the maid of honor, her brother is a witness, her cousins are singing, her parents are bell ringing, my mother is doing the flowers, and my father is a priest who is conducting the ceremony. And I'm not included. I'm the only person in the family who isn't included in some way. That brings us to last night. I found a wedding invitation in my mother's kitchen. It turns out that the invites have been sent out and I didn't get one. My brother seems to think that I don't deserve my own invitation. I also found that the date he's chosen is the day before my birthday. So now my birthday will always be eclipsed by his wedding anniversary. Am I the idiot for deciding to not go to the wedding? My mother said I was overreacting and that he's my brother and I should just be supportive. It seems like he's doing everything he can to make you feel unwelcome. Why don't you arrange to do something different for that day so, even if he does ask, you have a valid excuse? Sorry, I've got a weekend away scheduled with a friend. If it's affecting your mental health as much as it sounds, you have no reason to put yourself through this. And nobody wants you to bottle up your feelings only to explode and make a scene on the day. I would seriously consider cutting off any toxic family members that are pulling this kind of crap. Not the idiot and good luck. Not the idiot for not attending since you're not invited, but there's something very wrong about your story. I think we're very much seeing one side of this. It would be weird frankly if he didn't tell his life partner about a prolonged serious illness his sister had as a child. It's his experience too. It sounds like the entering your flat and sectioning were very much designed to be in your interests. I think you need to talk to a therapist and separate out what if anything is actually problematic and what is your mental health. Everyone's the idiot here. It sounds like you're not taking responsibility for your own issues and casting everything your brother does in the worst possible light. Maybe the failure on the invite is a snub, maybe not. Maybe your brother sees you as unreliable because of your breakdown and simply doesn't want to hang another responsibility on you. Don't go if you don't want to. Talk to a therapist or counselor about what you're feeling and what you should do. I hope you will find peace, OP. This sounds bad, but hear me out. My stepdaughter is an absolute pain in the neck when it comes to food. She has legitimate and not mild allergies, but most of them aren't common things, so every single meal at a restaurant, no matter what she would get, would need several modifications. With so many special requests, something is always going to be wrong. I understand that, my wife understands that, and probably on some level she does too, but it is an entire event every time. She ends up acting like the restaurant is personally trying to kill her. She of course has to send it back, but spirals into a breakdown and won't eat whatever they bring back anyway, because it isn't safe, regardless of what the truth is anymore. It makes the entire meal a nightmare for everyone, including the restaurant workers. The younger kids end up having their food go cold because they can't eat with the drama going on and they don't know what to do. I finally broke and told her and my wife, while we were all together as a family, that she would just have to stop getting food when we went out and that she needs to just wait until we get home. Restaurants don't like having people bring outside food. I think it looks really rude anyway, and she just eats later at home anyway due to these episodes. Not only that, but it is expensive as hell for her to do this. Basic meals that would comply are already not cheap, and it creates so much food waste, which I absolutely hate. My wife says that I don't understand what it's like to have to navigate food when you can't just deal with it like everyone else, and a slight mistake can land you in the hospital, and that this makes her feel like she's less than and not part of the family. I just want to stop wasting money and food and have more quiet meals. You're the idiot. It honestly horrified me how little you seem to regard your stepdaughter. No person I know with allergies would feel safe eating at a restaurant that already messed up their order once. This isn't picky, this is oops now you're dead or in the hospital. A restaurant that messes it up once clearly isn't taking it seriously enough or knows enough to guarantee the food is safe. And then when she is justifiably too scared and upset to eat, you blame her. Lovely. And then you expect her to just wait till we get home to eat. You're the idiot. I hope you're trolling, but just in case this unhappy girl exists somewhere. Your daughter's allergies are not her fault, and dismissing her as an absolute pain in the neck when it comes to food is like dismissing a diabetic as an absolute pain in the neck when it comes to insulin. Secondly, the stress of trying to eat normally and socially has, by the sounds of it, caused a pattern of disordered eating, in the sense that she gets profoundly distressed when eating with her family in a restaurant. Know why this sounds bad? Because it is bad. You are the idiot. Your stepdaughter is obviously having a great deal of anxiety and emotional pain, and you're going to alienate her further. Good plan. You said these are legitimate allergy concerns, so why aren't you stepping up when the restaurant messes these dishes up? You have every excuse imaginable here. It's too expensive, it's stressful for the other kids, and food waste. Freaking food waste over your stepdaughter's comfort. My sister is a senior at high school and I am a sophomore. She was about to be valedictorian at graduation this spring. She has a TikTok account where she posts videos of herself and ones she takes at school and home. Some of them are kind of nasty, filming people unaware to make them the butt of jokes. She's filmed me for it, including filming me when I was crying. I made her take down the video of me, but she still did similar things to other people. I honestly didn't get all the jokes, some were weird TikTok inside jokes I guess. But they had people being sneakily filmed and made the butt of a joke, which isn't cool. So after a while of that, I went and screen recorded all of her nastiest videos and sent an email to the school guidance counselor. I used a throwaway email address and said that I wanted to anonymously report bullying by a student at the school towards other students. And to watch the videos attached. I pretended to be a concerned bystander rather than someone who was bullied. And the school took it really seriously. They talked to everyone in the videos and their families and took disciplinary action, suspending my sister and one of her best friends. Because my sister was suspended, she wasn't able to be valedictorian anymore. Another girl at school got the title. My sister and parents are mad. My sister is pissed at the other girl who she says doesn't deserve to be valedictorian because she came to school after being homeschooled just that year, so she only needed to keep her grades up for 1 year compared to her 4 years. My parents are furious because my sister losing the valedictorian title means she lost her full ride scholarship, and my family will be in a much worse financial situation having to pay towards her college. They're furious at whoever cowardly person sent in that report without even telling them. They wanted a chance to resolve things before it came to this and said whoever's parents had known about this and not talked to them before getting the school involved were cowardly for not even trying to have a parent-to-parent talk. They were mad at being blindsided because the school had already made the decision to suspend my sister and make her lose her valedictorian title and scholarship before they even knew anything was up. Nobody knows I sent that email. I had been thinking of coming clean, but after the way my parents have been so furious at that anonymous person, I don't think I will. I feel like my parents care more about my sister becoming valedictorian and having a full ride scholarship than they care about anything else. They've been so involved in her academics and college admissions. Am I the idiot for sending an email to the school? Not the idiot. Being excellent in a particular area of life, whether it's school, sports, or any other niche, does not give a person carte blanche to behave poorly. This is an important lesson to teach and enforce, and it is how we build a future where the most powerful people aren't also the most terrible people. Your part in this was not cowardly. It takes a big person to look at a member of your own family and see them for who they are. It takes courage and maturity to stand up to them for the sake of others. Not the idiot at all. In fact, the only reason I think people are saying you are the idiot is because she's your sister. If you had posted this but about someone else, you would have 100% told you not the idiot. It would have been discovered anyhow, and she could have been expelled from college for it had it been found. And even if it wasn't discovered, who knows if she would have actually changed as a person. Overall, I'm glad that you made the right decision. Too many times people get away with things others wouldn't. Everyone's the idiot here. I may be in the minority, but that's fine. To me, if you really want to be doing the right thing, you don't do them in the dark. If you feel this is justified, proportionate, and warranted, then you have nothing to hide. It sounds like your sister hurt you and you wanted to hurt her back, but it happened in a much bigger way than you expected and in turn also hurt your parents' financial situation. If you feel like you did the right thing, then hold your head up high and be honest and proud. If not, then you can keep it a secret forever. We have broken up now. But my ex-boyfriend, 22, was the pickiest eater. And I mean absolutely refused to eat certain foods. For example, he loves pesto, but he does not know what it's made out of because it's green and he won't like it after he knows what it's made out of, basil. He has no allergies and he is diabetic, so I would encourage him to eat healthier or at least some vegetables. I have been at family dinners with his family and his mother would serve these amazing stuffed bell peppers. And he would only scoop the rice and eat that alone. He doesn't mind eating junk food all day, chicken nuggets, burgers, etc. So one night at my house, I had made lasagne with small carrot pieces in it and I served mine with some steamed vegetables including steamed carrots and served his as just lasagna. Mid-dinner I feel like he is eyeing my plate so I ask, would you like to try some of my carrots, to which he replied, nah, I don't like carrots. I had told him there is carrot in the lasagna. He pushes away the plate and says he's finished eating, but at this point he had already had 2 servings of it, working on his third. He later told me he felt violated that I fed him carrot without his knowledge and was quite upset about it. I had just been trying so hard to deal with his pickiness, as always having to cater our dinners to his liking, and everyone is entitled to have likes and dislikes, but I felt it was all in his head and quite irrational. Not the idiot. It's not like he's allergic to them. I know from experience that it's all in his head. I used to be a picky eater as a kid, but I grew out of it and I did it by trying the food. Not looking at it and then just proclaiming I don't like it. I once dated this girl for a month who was the pickiest eater I've ever seen. There were restaurants we straight up couldn't go to because of it. She was also allergic to all fruit. Who is allergic to fruit? After the first few dates I actually called my mom and apologized for all the years I was so fussy about food. Everyone's the idiot here. You cared about him and wanted the best for him. You didn't want to watch him kill himself with unhealthy eating. That's admirable. But you addressed it with deception. You knew he wouldn't want it, but you secretly fed it to him anyway. You can say, well, I didn't claim there weren't carrots, so it technically wasn't lying. But that's just semantics. You knew he would assume there weren't. If you want him to eat healthier, say so. If it's a deal breaker that he refused to comply with, that's honestly okay. You're the idiot. Bottom line is that you deliberately deceived him. It may not seem like a big deal to you if someone slipped an ingredient you didn't like into your food, but it is a big deal to him. You knew it would upset him and did it anyway. You don't understand his eating habits and that's fine. Instead of respecting his feelings and accepting that you don't understand his position, you have decided to label it as all in his head and quite irrational and decided to challenge him on it.